One, MetLife Stadium Drive, one of the two NFL stadiums shared by two teams. But we're not here to talk about that or that team across the hall. Keith Ippolito and John Rad are only here to talk about the true football giants. We talk Giants football and wherever else the conversation may take us. So deal with it. This is the Shared Stadium Podcast.
I didn't recognize this guy. Good for him for the weight loss. But he's been at the beach. It's time for a New York Giant. And I'd say one of the greats to retire. Because you can't go back in the locker room after this. And who's had the better career? We're going to talk about all of that and more here on the Shared Stadium Podcast. I'm John Rad, along with my tag team partner, Keith Ippolito. You're listening to the Shared Stadium Podcast, where we talk all things New York Giants, but we go all over the place. Because let's face it, there's really no football right now, but we're still going to talk a little bit of everything. But before we get into that, Ips, what's going on, brother?
Doing good, man. No complaints at all. Like I was just saying before we hopped on here, I was helping my youngest brother move back for the summer before he moves down to Florida from Charleston. So I was just saying, I'm pushing 40 out right now. I was saying, you only got one of these moves left in me, man. I don't know how much the body can take.
Yeah, no, I don't do moves. I will hire the mover, but I'm too old to be doing that for pizza and beer nowadays. So
unless it's a Pizza Hut big box, I mean, from our Braves Radio Network days, I might do anything for one of those bad boys.
No, I'm not helping anybody.
No.
Because see, here's the thing: people forget. It's all fun and games. So you got to carry a sofa down a flight of stairs, up a flight of stairs, and then it's like, oh, man, no, I'll hire somebody. I'm too old. College is.
I'll give you the $100 to move next time.
Yeah. College is way in the rearview mirror for me, and it's gonna stay back there. Speaking of things that's in the rearview mirror, the head man in charge. I can't even call him the big dog anymore because he's a little bit smaller. Brian Dable.
Yeah.
He's lost some weight and he's got
a
tan.
I know,
good.
Man. He looks, man, I honestly, I saw the picture of him and I was like, who is this guy? Who is that? Did we hire a new coordinator or assistant coach? Who the hell is that for us over there?
Good for him. He's looking good. He's dropped a few pounds. But look, it leads us into, as right now, OTAs are going on. And he was talking about, the question came up that everybody has on their mind, Daniel Jones. He's doing 7-on-7 drills. They haven't really turned him loose yet. But would you be terribly upset if he didn't make it to week one? If at week one they just said, we want to be cautious. Let's give him one more week before we start letting somebody touch him. And he actually starts on week 2. Are you upset about that?
No, that wouldn't upset me. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't upset me. I mean, I'd be okay going into week 1 with Drew Lock as the quarterback. I mean, I know it's only OTAs, and I heard he made some pretty good passes to Neighbors, and Neighbors lit the show up at OTAs again. But like we've previously discussed, man, until you're actually, putting the pads on and actually doing the real stuff, like what's it really matter at the end of the day? No, yep. I wouldn't be upset with that. And even like we've previously discussed, man, nothing. I heard that I was listening to WFAN in New York. I'm gonna give Sean Marasha credit. I heard this mention, maybe it was Tiki actually. He was saying, I feel like Daniel Jones might put us in a precarious situation, like a bad situation going into the season where he's going to force the Giants to make a decision if they want to bring him back after this year because he has a good season. And honestly, that would not surprise me based off of, what he did coming out of that, not getting extended for that 5th-year option. So it's the same thing, with Jones. We've had the same debate, coming on 5, 6+ year, with him. It's, sometimes you even wonder, is like, what, we're still having this discussion.
Here's the ultimate question. I mean, so to answer my own question first, if they make him wait, I'm not mad at that. You open the season up against the Minnesota Vikings, so you're not talking about an NFC East team. And week 2, you turn them loose against the Washington Commanders. I'm not upset about that. I look at it like this with Daniel Jones. He's not a franchise quarterback. He's not. And to be fair, when you look at the landscape of the NFL right now, it's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like, it's Patrick Mahomes, and then there's a big gap there. And then you start talking, you start talking about the Josh Allens. You start talking about the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback.
Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson,
Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen
Hurts, and the kid at the Chargers.
It's a Justin Herbert. It's a wide gap that's there. But in that wide gap, Daniel Jones isn't in that next group. He's arguably not even in the group after that. There are rookies that are coming into the NFL that, or second-year players that are coming into the NFL that I could easily make the argument he might be somewhere in that group right now. And so I don't agree that he's going to give us a hard decision, because I think we're going to look around, barring him literally taking us deep into the playoffs. I don't think just a one and done is going to be enough, because I think if you look around, who else is going to look at him and say he'll fit better in my system? The Falcons, and I add to that. We talk about it. We're here in Atlanta. The Falcons possibly have their quarterback of the future. The Eagles have their quarterback. The Bengals have their quarterback. The Chiefs have their quarterback. The Texans have their quarterback.
Yes.
Heck, even the Detroit Lions have their quarterback. Where does he go? Unless he's going across the hall to put on green because Aaron Rodgers is hurt again or whatever, that's the best option for him. Or he goes down to Carolina, another quarterback.
They need a lot. I mean, I'm sure there would be options, but like you said, man, he's not. Man, it's so frustrating sometimes, because you see blitzes of the talent, and I'm not gonna question his work ethic. At least for me, it's so frustrating sometimes. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, man. But I'm kind of the more I think about it going into this season, I'm kind of hopeful, man. Like I'm encouraged by what's happening on the offensive line, like especially with the wide receivers, Neighbors, and even I'm sure you probably heard the cut earlier today, Jalen Hyatt after OTAs basically saying we're a playoff team. That makes me like him a lot more, that he's thinking like that, but I don't think we're a playoff team. Throw a little gambling parlance. Like, I saw some numbers earlier today, like Daniel Jones total touchdowns for the season, like 9.5. I honestly, as a gambler, man, I'm inclined to take the over. Like, I think he's at least good for 10 touchdowns. Come on.
Let me ask you this: are you hopeful because the Giants sound and look like a dominating team, or are you hopeful because the other teams just aren't there yet? And that's why and before you answer, that's why I say, when I looked at Peyton Manning, And I know I'm talking about a great, but I'm being fair about this. Because remember, Peyton Manning didn't start off being the great Peyton Manning that we saw. He
Oh
struggled.
God, no. Yeah, oh, yeah.
But when I looked at Peyton Manning, we knew here's a guy who played in the SEC. He led Tennessee. He had those flashes of greatness. Right now with Daniel Jones, you played for Duke. Yes, and I am holding that against you because you played in the ACC. So you
Yeah.
weren't exactly at a powerhouse team. And number
No.
B, I don't see flashes of greatness. I see flashes of serviceable to good. And that's not enough to get your team to the Super Bowl. If you were to tell me we're one player away, we're one running back away, and the Giants Super Bowl team, okay, then I think we're a little bit more than that, but I think we're better. It's addition by subtraction, and that's because I think everything else, I think there are other teams that haven't gotten that much better yet, and I think the Giants just got better, but I don't think they got better because of the quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't disagree with you on that. I mean, we've gotten much better in other positions. Like again, I keep going back to the offensive line. Obviously, the draft with the wide receivers, and hell, man, I'm kind of excited to see what the backfield does. As the running backs do, man. Singletary, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer or he's gonna, be Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey or whatever. I'm not that crazy, but I think he's a serviceable veteran. Even the kid that Eric Gray or whatever, I think he could be okay. So I see things on the offensive side of the ball that I'm encouraged about, and honestly, the thing that I feel like that is like the constant and that we haven't had in a very long time is I feel like we finally have a head coach who knows what he's doing. I'm very confident in what Dable's doing. And even Shane, I mean, I just feel like, I feel like I can trust him. I mean, obviously, last year was what it was. There was all the injuries and this and that, but to rattle off the wins and have the team play like they did, with Tommy DeVito and all that. I mean, yeah, I'm encouraged, man, and I see some players on this team that like your favorite phrase, man. They got that dog in them, man. So. I'm not delirious, and I'm not saying we're gonna win the Super Bowl or whatever, but I'm encouraged. Again, obviously, like we keep going back to the biggest question is the quarterback. If we put it this way, I think if we had a quarterback who we knew week in and week out wasn't going to lose us any games, I think we could be a playoff team. Do you?
Here's what I will say. Number one, if we had a quarterback, we had a surefire quarterback. We had someone that I knew, and I like to take it old school. If we were on the football field playing two-hand touch in the street, and you line up 10 NFL quarterback, Daniel Jones wouldn't be my first pick. But I want to go back to something that you said real quick. Daniel Jones might not be here in 2 years. And here's why I'm going to tell you that. I'm looking at, this is according to Spotrac. The Giants can get out from Daniel Jones at the end of potential out 2020.
Yeah.
2 years, $88 million, but it's a $22 million dead cap hit. I will tell you why Daniel Jones won't be there. If Malik Neighbors pans out to be what we hope Malik Neighbors pans out to be, we're going to need the money to pay him.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
You're going to want to take that money, pay a Malik Neighbors, pay a running back, draft a quarterback, even if it's next year in this upcoming draft, the next draft.
Yeah.
Draft a young quarterback, let him sit for a year because we're going back to that again, i.e. Aaron Rodgers, i.e. Jordan Love. We're going back to that again and let him sit for a year. Daniel Jones is out. And
Yeah.
I think we're looking at the last couple of years of Daniel Jones, because what have the Giants done? They've loaded up on wide receivers for a quarterback. Barring Daniel Jones having an Eli Manning Superman fourth quarter going deep into the playoffs, Daniel Jones, I think, to me, and I'm not saying that to be negative, I'm saying that to be realistic of he I never felt like he was the man in the beginning. I still don't feel like
Yeah.
he's the man. I know
Well,
he's coming off
I
an
think
injury.
all of us were shocked when that pick was made by Dave. I honestly, yeah, I remember when that pick was made by Gettle, and I was like, buddy, this is you better be on to something here, man.
It's the end of the world as we
Yeah,
know it.
yeah.
So I think I look around and I'm like, look, I'm not knocking the guy. And I've said it from the beginning. I'm doing no secret about it. I don't care. Daniel Jones ain't it. I think we're looking at the last couple of years of Daniel Jones, unless he puts together some serious numbers, and then we'll talk. But as it stands right now, you do another season like you did 2 years ago. See you, Danny. Speaking of people who could be leaving the New York Giants, I don't have a source. I don't think Keith has a source. I don't think we have any inside information on this, but I feel fairly confident. It hasn't come out officially yet. Darren Waller's retired. If he ain't retiring, he ain't coming back to New York.
Yeah, yeah. Where the hell? I don't know where he's going after that music video. Good God.
So in the era of when music has, it hasn't gone anywhere. You've had Kendrick Lamar come out with some music about Drake. You've had Drake come out with some music about Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
You've had
yeah.
Darren Waller come out with a song about his soon-to-be ex-wife and WNBA star Kelsey
Oh,
Plumlee.
yeah.
You can't go back into a locker room after you put that song on.
No, I will. I feel pretty. I feel pretty confident that he's retired. I mean, if there was any doubt, the last few years of his career, the only thing, not the talent. There was never any question of the talent. Obviously, it was always an injury thing because he hardly played last year, basically. So you're already injury prone. You're at the, you put
And
this
now you're
music
heartbroken.
video out. Yeah, and your heart, bro. Dude, yeah, woo, God. Can you imagine him going up against an opposing team and just the amount of shit talking is like,
oh, bro.
You wouldn't even have to try. It's just like, it's just sitting there. It's like easy.
Hey, look. I'd start singing to him. I'd start singing his own song back to him. I would literally line up in front of him, and I would just start singing his own. I would take the time, learn the lyrics to the song, and I would sing his own song back to him if I'm across the line. So if you're a cornerback, matter of fact, I'm drawing a blank on the Falcons cornerback that they drafted.
Oh, yeah, dang, yeah. Oh, man, I know exactly. Yeah, dang. I know exactly who you're talking about. But, yeah. If I'm lining up against Waller, man, like you said, I'm learning that verse by verse and just running my mouth, dude. Oh my God, because it's so easy.
The minute he comes and lines up out there, AJ Terrell. If I'm AJ Terrell,
yeah.
The minute he comes up to the line, I don't even know the words to the song. I'm just gonna start singing it.
I tell you.
I'm just as loud as I can. I'm gonna get him. And if I'm AJ Terrell, if I'm any other team, I'm going to get a Kelsey Plumlee jersey, and I'm putting it under my uniform. So if I score a touchdown, I'm lifting
taking it up. Boop.
Hey, man.
I don't mind it.
Good luck coming back from this one. I'm sad that you're heartbroken. I don't know what happened there. I feel bad for you, but sorry,
dude.
Man.
Honestly, man, sometimes I wonder, as like, sometimes some things are best just not being talked about in public. But then you're gonna talk about all this stuff and put it to a music or to a rap song. Come on, man. I thought this guy was a tech grad. Use your noodle a little bit, dude.
Here's the even better one for you, though. What is the text messages and what is the I want to be a fly in the Las Vegas Aces locker room for a completely different set of reasons right now. I want to hear how they were talking about him. I'm not nothing sick or twisted.
Oh,
You pervert. No, I want to be in there
yeah.
when Kelsey Plums
Yeah,
walks in.
you want to hear you want to hear what you want to
Yes.
hear the real talk.
Yeah, like when one of her teammates is like, "Girl,
Go.
what's up with dude?"
Yeah, what are you what's happening here?
So, speaking of players that aren't coming back, the great Aaron Donald. I can say great. I know a lot of people say, man, you throw that word around loosely. Aaron Donald's one of the greats. You don't like it, go back and watch the film. Aaron
Oh yeah.
Donald's retiring. He will be in the Hall of Fame first chance he gets. Outstanding player. But with Aaron Donald retiring, does it open the door for Dexter Lawrence to be one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL? Yes.
100%, man. I mean, I especially now that Donald's out there, I mean, I can only imagine what this guy is gonna do. I am so, dude, I'm so excited about what this defense can do, especially with the addition of Burns. And I mean, they paid him, the salary basically says they expect him to be a star, and the way he's carrying himself and even and with Dex Thibs, man, I am so excited about this defense and what these guys can do. I would not be surprised to see Dexter Lawrence in that conversation at all.
I'm looking at this defense, and once again, because I know everybody will say, how can he be a Giants fan? He was so down on Daniel Jones at the very beginning. But here's what I'll also say. The last two Super Bowls that the Giants have won, there was some serious defense being played there. And a large portion of that came from up front. Now,
Yep.
let's take a walk around the NFC East, and let's just start there. I'm going to start at what I'd say is the bottom, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, with CeeDee Lamb holding out, Dak Prescott's losing a weapon.
Yeah.
So now Dak Prescott has to run around. I like the defensive line's chance. I'll move over to the Washington Commanders. They're still trying to figure it out. I'm sorry. You can't sit here and tell me this is a team that has put everything back together. This is a team they're back in rebuild mode. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the team to beat. Jalen Hurts can do wonders. Saquon Barkley, we know what he can do, but he's not going to be running the ball a lot. And if you can get Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, Brian Burns, putting some pressure on Jalen Hurts, and if you got Nubbin and you got Dante Banks and Drew Phillips are able to shut those wide receivers down.
Yeah.
And I know it's easier said than done. It's basic football 101. But you know what's hard to do? When your quarterback's running around, throw the ball to an open man. And as long as they can stay covered, that's where I start to look around and say, okay, now I feel better.
Yeah. No, dude, I honestly, I really, maybe I'm getting a little too excited, but I am really excited to see what this defense can do, and especially everything I'm hearing. Again, I know it's only OTAs, but these guys are all saying the right things, and man, I am just, dude, I'm so excited to see what this guy can do, man. God Almighty, man. I mean, he's a hell of a player, dude. I mean, I was trying to look up his numbers here, but I lost.
Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up here. Oh God,
Last season, Dexter Lawrence played 16 games. He went for 32 solo tackles, 21 assisted. He had 4.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 21 QB hits.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, I have no reason to doubt that this guy is, and especially the coach, the DC. He seems like he's pushing him a little bit. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see him go out because I could be wrong. How many playoff games has he played in?
One. No, two.
Is it only?
The
Or is it two?
2022. The
Yeah,
2022
yeah.
season.
So he's got to be because he's what pushing 30 or close to it. He's got to be close
27.
to 26. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so all right. I thought he was a little bit older than that. So yeah, I would think he probably wants to get, he's getting into the prime of his career. He's gonna be hungry, man. He's gonna want some playoff games or whatever.
And on top of that, when I start looking at a guy that he came out in that 2019 draft, so you're talking about Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Cleveland Farrell,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm forgetting somebody. There's another edge rusher.
Damn. Yeah.
I gotta look it up. Christian Wilkinson.
Yes.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy that wants to be in those conversations, and you know who they took before him?
I don't remember actually, but I would refresh me.
Daniel Jones.
Oh man.
Dexter Lawrence was a second-round pick. Daniel Jones
sexy Dexy.
Well, I'm sorry, he wasn't the second-round pick. He was the first-round pick.
Yeah.
But he was number 17.
Yeah.
But they took Daniel Jones before him.
Yeah.
He was a first round. So
yeah,
he's living up to the hype of being a first round pick. He's living up to it, and I think he's going to do that. I hope he's going to do that. And I understand your excitement. And for anybody who's listening and watching, wherever you get your podcast, like, subscribe, follow, and do us the biggest favor you can do us. Tell a friend to tell a friend, or tell somebody who don't like us. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's that time of year. It's that time to start getting excited because training camp will be here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's not far off. Yeah, it's not far off at all. I know that.
It's right around.
It's definitely.
So training camp's coming up, so it's that exciting time of year. And it is just that. Where last year, the excitement wasn't there. The excitement was there because we knew we still had Saquon Barkley. We knew Daniel Jones was coming back. We made some outstanding additions at wide receivers. So now we've made some. I don't think we've gotten worse this year. And I don't think we've stayed the same. I think we've drastically improved.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I feel like we've made the right additions in free agency. I feel like we drafted well. I love our head coach. I feel like we finally have a guy who knows what he's doing. Yeah, man. Again, I'm not delirious. But I think we'll have a much better season than last year, considering it. We all stay healthy. Especially, if Jones basically just does enough to not lose us games. Yeah, man. I'm expecting probably definitely more than what Vegas is expecting of us. I know that.
Here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping by week 16, the Falcons are 2-14. And the Giants are 8-7 or 8-5.
Yeah,
whatever the number needs to be. And somebody will give me their tickets or sell me their tickets really cheap when they come to Atlanta.
Or maybe they'll just feel generous and maybe they'll just throw you a bone. You never know, man.
So I said that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the Falcons were week 16. Yeah, I'm hoping the Falcons are 1-15 or 1-14.
We're definitely going to that game. You know that, yes. Right?
Yeah, that'll be here in the Mercedes-Benz State. Now we got to make sure they got water. Okay. For those of y'all who don't know, let's pull the curtain back. We said it. We're here in Atlanta. Atlanta they didn't say they didn't have water. Atlanta had a boil water advisory. Okay.
Yes.
Now, What does that mean? And I can tell you what that means. I went to the Atlanta United game, the Atlanta United match this past Sunday when the boil water advisory came out.
You were at the game,
I
actually.
was there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That means no fountain drinks. So you're either drinking bottled water, bottled tea, or beer. That's it.
Okay.
You couldn't get
All
it.
right.
There's no getting a Coca-Cola. There's no getting a Sprite.
What was your weapon of choice? Did you stick to a beer or an alcohol diet only, or were you going with the water and tea? What were you doing?
I did bottled water.
Okay.
That is only my second Atlanta United match I've ever been to.
Okay.
So I am a big fan of experience. I wanted to take in the experience to learn the chants, hey, T.
It's a fun game,
vibe.
isn't it, man? Yeah.
It's a vibe. So I wanted to take all of that in, and I really enjoyed myself. So hopefully they'll have water, so we won't have that problem. And number two, even if they do have that problem, and I can be in the building, I'll be there. Atlanta fans can get rowdy, and vicious, and mean, and I'd like to have all my faculties about me just in case something jumps off. So.
Did you also see the video floating around on I believe it was Barstool or either Barstool or ATL Scoops of the guy floating down Peachtree Street on the rubber ducky?
Yeah, look, when in Atlanta, do what Atlanta does, and what's the most Atlanta's gonna do what Atlanta does. So I'm gonna keep it above.
Atlanta's the Wild West, man.
So let's give a pro tip. For anybody who might be in New York or anywhere where you're listening to this, and you're coming to Atlanta, let me start by telling you, you can come to visit, you can't stay. We full. So, and please forgive me if you see me. We're recording this on system too. If you see me looking away, the NBA playoffs are going on. We're going to talk about that coming up. But the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics are playing, and Dallas has gotten back within 10. And
yeah.
And so I'm keeping an eye out because for New York faithful, an old name is coming up. We're going to talk about that here a little bit more as we come up. But if you come to Atlanta, we're full. We don't need you to stay. You can come visit. But if you come to Atlanta, I'm going to give you some free advice. There's some places you need to stay away from. Okay. Number one,
what's on your list?
Gave you the advice out the gate. Every city has a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, a man who was out about peace. There ain't no peace going on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. If you ain't from there, stay away from there. Stay away from there. Number two, we got these boys. They're called the Water Boys. They're sitting right there off
the Water Boys.
They're going to tell you they're selling a bottle of water, and they take Cash App and Venmo. They're going to Cash App themselves $20,000 for a bottle of water. Don't you give them your phone.
Don't you do it.
Keep your window up.
Hey, I think you saw my, I know I posted this on Instagram a long time ago. I went to a Falcons game, and I was leaving the game, and I saw a guy and a girl with the freaking anaconda snake outside the Falcons game.
Yes.
That's the type of stuff you see in Atlanta outside of a Falcons game, man.
Atlanta. Understand, I'm going to help you out, too. If you're from New York and you're coming down here, don't come down here asking for Pepsi products. This is a Coca-Cola city.
Hey, also, that you brought up Pepsi. Did you see Dr. Pepper took over Pepsi as the number 2 consumed soda in the country, huh?
I've seen that, and I don't understand. Yeah. Here's the only logic that I have with it. Have you seen these people? They make, it's called like a dirty soda. They take like soda and put like coffee creamer in it.
No, I haven't.
It's a whole thing.
I'm not. I'd be open to try it. Have you had that?
No, I'm not much of a soda drinker. This is how
I'm not either. But
this is how I keep this beautiful baby soft skin. Is stay away from the sodas.
I thought it was all the aloe vera you used, John.
Well, I mean, look, it ain't easy being beautiful now. It's not easy being beautiful. I work hard.
Baby, you're the big sexy.
Look, hey man, they don't call me Big Daddy for nothing. How you doing?
Oh, Big Dad.
Big Daddy. Never mind. I'm a married man. I'm a married man. That's an old John. I was a young man. Young man.
That's the
That was back in the day.
those days are retired.
Look, days was a long, long time ago.
Yeah. Oh God.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but if you come,
hey,
you
so
come to
hey,
Atlanta, yeah.
well, do you like Dr. Pepper though?
I like Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm not a big fan of the
Okay.
regular one. I like Diet Dr. Pepper. I know,
Okay.
people, the big guy, he likes Diet, so I just don't. I like
Yeah.
Diet Dr. Pepper. I don't know. It's something
All
about
right.
the taste.
Hey, I'm not. Whatever you like, man. I'm not knocking that.
Yeah, it's Diet Dr. Pepper for me. So I get it. But if you come down here, don't come down here asking for a Pepsi. It's a Coca-Cola city. They own the city. They run the
course.
city. It's a Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, that's what we're going to do. Every podcast, we're going to give tips about coming to Atlanta. And people from Atlanta who says, but you're from New York. You're a New Yorker. I was down here before the Olympics. If y'all haven't indoctrinated me by now, I'm planting my flag and I'm staying like Columbus.
Hey, man, at this point, we're natives, man. We've been here for the long haul, man.
Yep.
You know?
I've been here.
We've seen it all. We've seen 28-3. We've seen all all you could possibly imagine. You know,
I got a world championship ring in the city.
That's a true story, actually, man. Not many people can say that.
I got a world championship ring in this city. So
that's a true story, man. You know what? Do you have that in your office right now?
We'll talk about that on a later one. That is a whole story that we're going to have to unpack one day.
Did you find it in a Cracker Jack box one day?
Like I said, we're going to talk about that one later. That is a deep tease that we're going to talk about. The world, myself and Keith Ippolito have world championship rings in the city, and we're going to talk about that one. Maybe we'll do it next week because there ain't going to be a whole lot going on. The NBA Finals might be done.
It might be.
So shifting gears here a little bit, you're listening to the Shared Stadium podcast. John Radcliffe, Keith Ippolito. Keith, the WNBA has been making some news. Now, the news that it's been making, I hate the fact that everybody's trying to make it negative. But there's the old adage that says there's no such thing as bad press. But it's been mostly about Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's first round pick rookie.
Yeah.
It's been about her. Have you gotten a chance to take a look at a game, and what do you think about the flack that Caitlin Clark is getting?
I have not watched a game in its entirety. I've seen pieces of it and seen, highlights on SportsCenter. I feel like what is happening to her is a little bit above what you would call I don't want to use hazing, but like welcome to the league rookie. I feel like it's a little bit more than that. And I also not that I want to agree with Pat McAfee or all's definitely not the language he used. He has a little bit of a point is like, if we're being honest here, not that I, want to knock women's sports because I do enjoy women's sports. I like watching women's soccer. I think that's very good. I mean, I'm not a regular watcher of the WNBA, solely just from, I guess, a financial standpoint. I know the league is not profitable, so I would think that the players would, embrace someone like Caitlin Clark coming into the league, especially coming off, the national championship game. I believe it was even more watched or similar, or just as watched as the men's championship game. So I would think that they would embrace that, because if anyone was going to help the league flourish and help all of them make more money, I would think this would be it. No?
I think the WNBA is at a transition point, and it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Where they're getting more notoriety,
yes,
more visibility, and I think Caitlin Clark came in. She was very She made history. She was very, I don't want to say arrogant, but for lack of a better term, arrogant. She celebrated, and you had Angel Reese from LSU, who's now in Chicago. They tried to make them out to be rivals, and they weren't rivals. It was just competitive. And I think that's what you're seeing is, I think it's a sport that hasn't gotten the attention for so long. And now people are seeing it, and they're rivals, and they hate each other, and they're this and that and this and that. And it's like, no, this has always been there. It's just you're seeing it now for the first time. Congratulations. Welcome to the show.
It's the competitive nature between, because Angel Reese is a fantastic player too, but I mean, for whatever reason, Caitlin Clark is, I guess the brand recognition is, she has all the different endorsement deals and this and that or whatever, but, not diminishing Angel Reese's talent at all. But yeah, I mean, Caitlin Clark is obviously getting all the attention. It was even, who was it? The UConn coach, Gino Auriemma. He was, he had a quote, it was either today or yesterday, is basically, kind of more or less saying that it's a little bit over the top. What's the girl who, said Kennedy, why am I drawing a blank on her first name?
Sinead Kennedy.
Like, it was a little bit too much. And I even saw the clip on, I'm sure you probably saw it too, the Stephen A.
Monica
clip.
McNutt, Stephen McNutt, and
I saw that, and I kind of agree with Stephen A. I mean, he's he's the producer of that show, and he chooses who is on that show, and I feel like out of most of the of the talent, or the sports talk shows in that format, I feel like he's given the WNBA a pretty significant platform. He's got a primetime spot, and he's a big name. I don't know. I could understand, I guess, maybe a little bit why she'd be upset, but I didn't exactly agree with her attack of him. I feel like he's done a lot for the WNBA and given them all the players, the ex-players, a platform.
Once again, I bring it to welcome. I liken it to this. We talk about ice hockey here on this show, but for the person who sees ice hockey for the first time, that's such a violent sport. They fight, and they this, and they lose teeth, and they it's so much. They don't hate each other. These are the same guys that when their season's done, they go up to Canada, they go over to Russia, they go over to overseas, and they play on a European team together.
Yeah.
The WNBA is the same way, where these ladies for years played overseas in Turkey, in Istanbul, and Russia, and China.
Yeah, exactly.
And they all play together. So you're just getting to the dance. And Stephen A. Smith, he has. I'm not taking anything away from what Stephen A. Smith done. I think we as a society are just getting there. And because no one gave, James Dolan would not be able to pull the garbage that he pulled, I guess it was about 6 years ago, where he shipped the New York Liberty. He kicked them out of Madison Square Garden. He shipped them off to Westchester County, and they were playing in Westchester. And he did it like a thief in the night because he wanted more revenue for the Garden. I get it.
Of course.
It's a business that's losing money, but it is also a business that no business opens their doors and day one turns a profit. And I get it. They've been around for quite a long time. But for what these ladies are asking for, they're asking for fair play. They're asking for the visibility. They're not asking for NBA player contracts. But what they're asking for, it's not out of reach. It's not out of reason. I think it's if you live in a city where you're able to go take in a WNBA game, go take it in. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I think you'll get several things. And I'm not talking about from these are beautiful, because they're beautiful women.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about from a standpoint of these are athletic women. These are
Yep.
leaders. These are women that, as you can see from whether it be Dawn Staley, congratulations to her,
Mm-hmm.
leading South Carolina, Nancy Lieberman, who went over and she's not only coached in the NBA, she's a champion over in the Big Three, Ice
Yeah,
Cube's
yeah.
3-on-3, and that's a woman leading men. I
Yeah,
think these
yeah.
women, I think they can do an outstanding job, and I'm enjoying watching. I've always watched the WNBA. I'm not now. I don't want to overstate this and, oh, well, you should know everything. No, I've always watched it. I was young enough. I remember when Lisa Leslie had the first dunk in the WNBA.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
I was a Teresa Witherspoon fan. I remember when Dawn Staley, I'm a Dawn Staley fan.
Yeah.
Rebecca Lobo. I go through the history of it. I've always
Oh,
enjoyed
yeah,
watching the
yeah.
WNBA. So I'm happy that they're getting the attention they deserve.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy they're getting the attention deserved. I would say for me, I probably watched more women's college basketball than I did WNBA, so I would know the players mostly from their college days. And I don't know why I haven't really watched much of the WNBA. I can't really it's like again, not that it's a bad product because I like watching women's soccer. I enjoy watching, the Women's World Cup. I like watching even some of the women's soccer game. Like I do another podcast I do with another friend about Man United. The women's Man United team has had a lot of success winning basically it's called the FA Cup.
Yeah.
It's just a significant trophy over there. So yeah, I mean I enjoy watching all those games, but I don't know why at least for me, I don't know why it hasn't translated to me watching more WNBA games. And maybe I should tune in more because I did enjoy watching Caitlin Clark play. I think she's a fun player to watch, and even like I'm not gonna sit here and claim I watch every single one of her games or even Angel Reese, but those were any entertaining games. Like they legitimately were good to watch.
They are very competitive, which I enjoy. The competition's there, the aggression's there, and I love what they're doing right now is the ladies of the WNBA need to be made almost like NBA players. And what I mean by that is they need to be exclusive. They need to almost be like if you saw LeBron James at Publix, you'd be, oh my goodness, there's LeBron James. My goodness, there's Kyrie Irving. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, there's Luka Doncic, Trey Young. When you hear how much these ladies are making and they don't have the mansions like NBA players where they're living in one bedroom
Oh
apartments. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
think about it like
isn't
this.
isn't the
It,
isn't the minimum salary like 80 or something like
it's like eighty
I
to
y-
$100,000.
yeah, I
Okay,
know
so
it's not. I mean, it's a decent salary for like if someone was gonna pay me 80 grand, of course I'd take that. But compared to what the NBA players and it's peanuts on the dollar.
but think about it like this. Flip it on its head. What's what? Let's split the difference. Let's call it $95,000. It's a good
Yeah.
salary. I'm not taking that away from it. Is it a good salary if you live in New York,
Oh
L.A.,
God, no. Nope.
Chicago, parts of
Nope.
Atlanta,
Nope.
Miami, Texas, because Washington D.C. Because
Hundred.
where are these
hundred
WNBA
thousand
teams?
dollars in New York City, you might as well be not poverty, but I mean you're not rich. I can tell you that much. I know that.
So and we are wrong about that too. It's actually $77,000. Goodness gracious.
Oh, really? That's the minimum salary? Wow,
That based on that.
wow, wow.
And
Less than I thought. Actually, yeah, I thought it was closer to 100. Wow.
and so that's where a lot of these teams are based out of. They're based out of markets that are in big cities that are major cities. And so now you're talking about Atlanta, Dallas, Las Vegas, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle,
Yeah.
Washington, New York. You're kind of hoping
all
you get
very,
drafted by the Connecticut Sun or the Indiana Fever or the Minnesota Lynx. No
yeah,
disrespect to those teams. It's just smaller
no.
markets and smaller cities.
Exactly. Cost of living.
So,
It's a purely an economic standpoint.
yes.
Now, I would hope, especially the marquee players like Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. I'm sure they have other endorsement deals where they're making more money than that. But yeah, if you're just the average Joe Blow and you're you're the bottom of the totem pole and that's tough, man. So very unlike the NBA where you have players that are 10, 15, 20 million dollars and they're bench players. It's like holy shit, man.
And you got to remember, they're just getting that. Like, this isn't something, they're just getting these endorsements. They're just getting these shoe deals. So they're
Yes.
just getting that. But look, go support the WNBA. The NBA finals are going right now. And I'm a big fan of this because I'm a married man, so I don't get to say this very often. Didn't I tell y'all they want these big markets in the finals? They don't want these little bitty markets in the final. I told y'all.
You did.
I
You
told
did.
y'all they didn't want Indiana versus the Utah Jazz. You got Boston versus Dallas. They want the big markets. They didn't want them little bitty markets there. But no, and I don't remember who you are, but I know you're out there. You trolled us. Bro doesn't even know who he's talking about. He doesn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
remember who said it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Does
kept a
it?
receipt of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the bro, I can't even remember who's playing in the Western Conference Finals. Come on, bro.
Yeah, no, I kept a receipt of that one because it was Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth my time remembering because the NBA
Yeah,
wants what they got right now. Dallas, a top 10 market. Boston, a top 10 market on your TV right now, where you got
of
Luka
course.
Doncic, a superstar.
Exactly.
Kyrie Irving, a polarizing superstar.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, he's really turned it on this year. I mean, like you said, key word you just said, polarizing, but he's
Polarizing.
been, yeah, he's been pretty damn good this year. You
Yep,
know.
he's been a polarizing star. And then you go over to Boston, you got Jason Tatum, you got Al Harrington, who everybody loves. And
Yeah.
as we're recording this right now, I'm watching the game. A name that New Yorkers know. You probably hated him when he first got there, but you grew to love him. And now he has the chance to possibly win a wing. Win a wing. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Win a wing.
Ring. Christoph Porzingis has been throwing the ball all over the court, and it's fun to watch this guy play because I know everybody will say, no, I was always a Porzingis fan. No, you weren't. You didn't even know who he was. We couldn't even say his
No.
name the first year.
Exactly. It's like Christoph names you can't say. Remember when the Knicks drafted that French guy, Frank Ntilikina? I can't even say. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. That brain. Yeah, my brain just goes to random places sometimes. But yeah, Kristaps. Yeah, man. He was what he was. I mean, I don't really hate him. I don't really, he's doing his thing. I could really care less what he does over there.
No, he wasn't a bad Nick. It was he
No,
got a chance to see the dumpster fire that was that organization at that point in time,
exactly.
and he wanted out. And we were hurt
Well, yeah,
because he was supposed to be our big star. And then
yeah.
he was injured all the time too, so it didn't help.
Yeah, he was injured all the time. We went through the Phil Jackson years and, the resurrection of the triangle. We could go on and on with the history of the Knicks of the last 20 plus years. So, yeah, it is what it is. I don't have any ill will towards them. I mean, I hate the freaking Celtics. I'm definitely pulling for the Mavs. I'm sure you are too. I definitely am pulling for the Mavs. I don't know about you. I maybe just because a friend I hang out with, he's a big Minnesota fan, and he was shitting on Luka pretty hard as far as like, you basically can't touch him, you can't foul him or whatever, he's a star. I don't know. For me personally, I say give him the calls. That's just me though.
You might as well tell your friend to stop watching the NBA. Because you can't touch LeBron, you can't
Of
touch Trey
course.
Young, you can't touch James Harden, you can't touch Draymond Green. Stop it. Look, I want Luka
Yeah.
Doncic to win, and I'll go against people, Matt. I want Luka Doncic to win because the Atlanta Hawks could have had him, and you
Of
traded
course.
him away for Trey Young, and Trey
Yeah,
Young might not
exactly.
even be here in a year.
And I'm pretty sure we can say that was a gigantic mistake at this point. And if you're a Hawks fan, yes, give me Luka Doncic over Trey Young 9 out of 10 times. I mean, he's a freak, man.
I think it was the same scenario like what the Knicks had. Knicks drafted Kristaps Porzingis, and fans didn't know what to make of him. The Hawks drafted. They made the trade. They said they take Luka Doncic trade for Trey Young. No one knew what Luka Doncic was. He was a kid from overseas,
Of
then
course.
now here's what you got. And Trey's a good player. I'm not taking that away from it. It's just one of those moments that I think you got to be careful about propping people up on a pedestal too soon to say, "Oh,
Yes.
Trey is great because he can shoot from half court." Great, good for you.
Well, I think it. Yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm knocking his ability because I think he is a good player, but I don't know if he's Luka, or also plus all the other the different articles, whether it was the Athletic article a few years ago or other different things about just being bad in the locker room and players not liking him or whatever. And I think that, for me at least, factors into the equation as well.
I like Trey as a player. I haven't seen his game evolve a whole lot yet. He's evolved some, but also
Yes.
I want to see him become a leader, and I haven't seen that yet. And I could just be asking for too much, but I'd like
Yeah,
to see him
yeah.
become a leader. I'd like him to
Well,
see him
that
become much more.
like, to your point about being a leader, is like, do you believe Trey Young is the player that wins the Hawks an NBA championship?
He can, and here's why I say he can. When
Okay.
I can't remember what the GM's name now. Schneider.
Schneider.
Dan.
Yeah.
He came from
Yes. Yeah.
came
He
from Golden State.
State. Yes.
He was trying to make the Golden State Warriors of the East Coast, and that was, i.e., Trey Young was supposed to be Steph Curry 2.0. Steph Curry carried his team to a championship. So I think Trey Young could do just that. It's just there has to be some more pieces there, and all of those pieces haven't fallen into place yet.
Yeah. I guess you're not wrong from that standpoint. I mean, he definitely has the talent. Yeah, I guess it's just like you just putting the final pieces of the puzzle around him.
So
One thing I saw this, a little throw a little gambling at you for the NBA Finals. I saw this and I was a little tempted. I don't know where I saw that. Maybe I think it was SportsCenter before I went to bed last night, and they were talking about MVP Finals, or who predictions to be the MVP in the NBA Finals. And a name that came up that someone said they were gonna throw a flyer on. Al Horford at 300 to 1. Would you put 500, or not 500? Yeah. Would you put $5 on Al Horford to be the NBA MVP at 300 to 1, John?
hell no. Look, I like Al Horford, but
I do too.
Al Horford's MVP days is like our college days. It's way in the rearview mirror.
It's hell yeah.
Like, okay, and I like Al Horford. I hated to see him leave Atlanta. I know he played
Yeah.
for the Florida Gators, and I'm not a Florida Gators fan, but
Actually, I don't even know this. Who is your college team, John? Do you have one?
go Dogs, sick 'em.
Okay, all right. I didn't. I wanted to confirm.
Al Horford's played 28 minutes. He's got 10 points. To the flip side of that coin, Kristaps Porzingis, coming off the bench, has played 21 minutes and has 20 points. Jaylen Brown is leading the Celtics with 22 points, and Luka Doncic is leading the Mavericks with 30. If Al Horford gets MVP, that means Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis have all gone down hurt, and he somehow has put this team on his back with his bad back and his bad knees to win a championship, and it would be the most miraculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, that would be something. How old is he now? In
Al
all
Horford?
seriousness, I mean he's got to be up there, man. God, I mean he's been in the
38?
league for God,
He's
he's been in the
38.
league forever. Has to
I
be,
mean,
yeah.
he got drafted in 2007.
God Almighty, was it that long ago? Jeez, Jesus.
So, all right, before we wrap it up, so everybody's concerned about Tiger. El Tigre.
El Tigre.
Evidently, Tiger Woods was spotted in Las Vegas, and he looked to have put on a few drinks. Looks to have had a few. He looked a little disheveled, according to the picture that I saw. Allegedly. I don't know.
Allegedly.
I mean, Tiger, let's be honest. We're like the 4th or 5th episode in on this podcast. What are you suing us for?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Hey,
I mean,
first of all, at least for me personally, what are you gonna take? I don't have much to take.
I gave the Cheat Dog Funko Pop. That's the guy.
You gotta all right.
Got the gin and juice Funko Pop.
All right. Well, maybe you got. I know you're a big comic book guy, so maybe you got some cool ass Marvel comic books.
Yeah, boy. Don't be dry snitching on here, man. Damn dog. Nah. Look, it's no secret. The man has worked hard his entire life to become one of the, if not the greatest golfer that we have ever seen.
Of course.
That pressure gets to you. And if you don't have the right people around you to say, hey, chill. Hey, let's go home. I was listening to a podcast, and Shaquille O'Neal was on there. And Shaq says he never drinks in public. And they said, why? He said, because when I made it to the league, my dad looked at me and said, hey, don't mess up your mama's money. Tiger Woods isn't messing up anybody's money because he's divorced. The kids are set for life. So he has no direction right now to say, hey, chill. And
exactly. He doesn't have that person, I guess, to right the ship or bring him back to earth, I guess.
Yep. And so I think that's what he's dealing with, unfortunately. He has that right to, but I hope he's healthy. I hope
I do too.
Himself.
Yeah.
And I hope he's someone that, much like I spoke of with like the WNBA, that he's that allure that we get to see, like the Masters. There's Tiger.
Oh,
and he
dude,
looks good.
I'm not a gigantic golf fan. I mean, but if there's probably really, at least for me, is like two golfers that if I hear that, it's, going into the 16th or 17th on the U.S. Open or the Masters or whatever, it's pretty much only Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. I'll tune in for that if I know it's close. And not that the other golfers aren't great, because they're all, Scotty Scheffler and all these other guys, they're all tremendous talents, but Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, I wonder. I heard all his case got thrown out now, right?
It was to me, one man's opinion. One man's opinion. You're right. Everything got thrown out. I was an overzealous cop. Leave him alone.
Oh yeah,
It was an
yeah. Because
overzealous cop.
I saw the video. I'm sure you saw it too.
Yes.
According to police report that I read, the officer said he was dragged by a car. What were you dragged by, bro? Because that's not what I saw in the video.
It was an overzealous cop that was like, ooh, I can make news. I can be a big shot. When really and truly, bro, sit down. You could have just chilled out. But
Exactly.
you went too
Hey,
far.
back to Tiger Woods. So I'm looking at his photos again from this video again. You know what came to my mind, especially this one photo? It reminded me, you remember that movie Hitch with Will Smith?
Yeah.
This picture reminds me of when Will Smith is eating the sushi or the fish out on the date, and he gets allergic, and he has to take the Benadryl to face. That's what this photo reminds me of.
Nah, look, I hope Tiger's doing well. But now also, here's the part that I think everybody's forgetting. I've been there. You've been there. What happens there stays there. The man's in Vegas.
Dude.
What happens in Vegas the minute you walk into one of these sports books? They shove a drink in your hand, and it's Tiger Woods, the $100 million man. What do you think they were doing? Giving him chicken wings?
100 million. 100 million. I mean, this guy he's even after the divorce, he's still got to be a billionaire, no?
I don't think he broke $1 billion, but I think he's.
Did he not? No?
I don't think he broke $1 billion.
He had to be close, no?
Okay, let's look. Now I gotta look at
what's the what was the game on the on our former colleague show, Chuck and Chernoff and Nick and Cellini, or Cellini and Domino?
Nope.
Celebrity net worth.
See, when David Dickey sends you a cease and desist, I don't want to hear nothing. Actually, I stand corrected. As of 2024, he was 1.3 billion. I stand corrected.
I thought so, man. I thought so.
Either way, look.
Hey,
the man's out in Vegas.
Back to cease and desist. Should we change our podcast name to the Front Row?
With that, we're gonna wrap this one up. This is the Shared Stadium podcast. It will not become the Front Row. It is a Shared Stadium podcast. Talk you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcast. If we get any cease and desist, it has been a pleasure talking to you guys. You can
send them to the Radcliffe residence.
You can follow us on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, because Keith Ippolito has clearly woke up this morning and chose violence, and that means we might have to get a new name for this show. So if this goes away, I hear Atlanta Eats is already taken. I hear the Audio Fun Bag is already taken. I hear the Front Row is allegedly already taken. You know, unfortunately, we can't just be some normal guys. I can't say the name because I know that name is taken. We can't be them.
Dude, we're going down the rabbit hole.
But we can change it to the move that is finished.
The move that is finished. Oh, all right.
And y'all can look that one up. I was a part of that. See, so we're going to wrap it up before we get in trouble. John Rad, Keith Ippolito. Man, this was crazy. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you guys. Hopefully by the time we come back, the NBA playoffs will be done. The Giants, they should be headed into OTAs. Keith Ippolito will have learned the lyrics to Darren Waller's breakup song from Kelsey Plumlee. And
I think on our next episode, I'll have to maybe rap a verse from that song, right?
I will not be here for that episode. Good night, everybody. Talk to you next time.